It's officially 9:30, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. And we will start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll, please.
Commissioner Look. Here. Commissioner Brastad.
Here.
Commissioner West. Here. Commissioner Silveraja.
Here.
Commissioner Meisner. Here. Commissioner Gamache.
Here.
Commissioner Schulte.
Here.
The first item is tax claims and abatements. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Silveraja.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Motion carries. Then we have review of checks issued from Finance and Central Services and from Human Services. Is there a motion to approve?
Move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Then we have approval of the minutes from our December 6th meeting, our December 7th, and our December 18th county board meeting. Trust that you have reviewed those minutes. Any additions or corrections at all to those minutes?
Madam Chair, I would move all three.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. I have no chair's remarks, so we will move directly into committee reports. The first is management.
We have someone from the city of Coon Rapids to talk about their certification first.
Absolutely. I would be happy to jump down to that. So let's go ahead and move down to item number 10. We have Matt Brown with us today, so welcome.
Thank you and good morning, commissioners. On this item, the city is proposing to establish a new TIF district. This would be a single parcel for a single project. We have a proposal for a 184 unit workforce housing project. Real Estate Equities, Twin Cities based developer, is making this proposal. We haven't yet received land use applications, so there's still a few steps that would need to occur for the project to be approved. But basically, 100% of those units would be affordable to households earning 60% of area median income. In general, we're committed in this region to providing new construction housing that's affordable to households at a variety of income levels. In Coon Rapids specifically, we have a number of business expansion projects. Alina is proposing a new customer service center on Evergreen Boulevard that will add up to about 500 employees over the next couple years. RMS company in that same area has undergone a recent expansion, so there's certainly a need out there for new housing. The reason for the TIF is really to ensure that the rent levels are affordable to those households for a period of up to 15 years. We're proposing a housing district can be extended as far out as 26 years. We're proposing a 15-year duration in this case, since that matches what the actual need for gap financing for the project would be. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner.
Mr. Brown, could you tell us where this is located in Coon Rapids?
Yes, this is located near the intersection of 94th Avenue and Springbrook Drive. So it's some vacant land just north of the Holiday Inn Express, right at the junction of Highways 47 and 610.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other further questions? All right. Well, thank you for coming and providing us information about the proposed development. And we look forward to watching them break ground, I guess. And this is just for review and comment purposes. As a county board, we really don't vote on this particular item, but Commissioner?
Madam Chair, I would just make the comment that there was another development slated for this area when I was still on the council back, I think, 2010 or 11. A similar type of workforce development housing project that didn't happen because of the economy mostly, I think, and some financing for the developer. This part of Coon Rapids, in that very kind of southeast corner. It kind of borders up against Blaine and a lot of highways in the area. So this is a really good use for this parcel, kind of a higher density and again, some new jobs right in that area that Mr. Brown was just pointing out that would benefit both the housing and the housing would benefit the businesses. So this is a good plan, and I'm glad, although I'm hesitant to use TIF anywhere, this is one place where to get some more workforce housing in the area and in that area specifically, I think is probably a pretty good plan.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we will move into Management Committee report. Commissioner West.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will say that the items on the agenda for management are informational only and have no action items.
Right, thank
That
you.
concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner. Now we'll move on to Transportation Committee Chair Report. And I know that you actually have 2 chair reports, Commissioner, so I'll let you go ahead and start.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you. And I would just comment that due to the holiday season and the travel schedules and the like, we did not take the opportunity to gather, but we have a couple of items we would like you to consider today. First, we'd consider recommending for approval a resolution entering into the Minnesota Department of Transportation Advanced Construction Agreement for the reconstruction of 125th Avenue from Lexington Avenue to Opal Street in the city of Blaine.
Is there an offer for the resolution?
I'll offer the resolution.
Resolution has been offered. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Silveraja.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item.
Next, we'd like you to consider recommending for approval a resolution entering into a Minnesota Department of Transportation Advanced Construction Agreement for the Hanson Boulevard Reconstruction Project from 139th Lane, or J Street, to Bluebird Street in the city of Andover.
Is there an offer of the resolution?
I'll offer it.
Resolution has been offered by Commissioner Gamache. Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Silveraja.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item.
And Madam Chair, next 2 items, 3 and 4, are both contracts with our federal lobbyists in Washington, D.C. The first being with John Brimzik, the second being with Paul Miller of Miller Wenhold Capital Strategies. Each is for $60,000. I'll actually read a portion of the first one so you know exactly what we're doing here. This is for professional services to assist with public affairs relating to the designation of federal discretionary highway funds for improvements to United States Highways 10 and 169, Interstate Highways 35, 35W, and 35E, and the National Highway System, which Trunk Highway 65 is a big part of. Highway railroad grade separation projects, environmental streamlining for transportation projects, Housing and Urban Development Fair Housing Act, and other transportation-related projects and issues impacting Anoka County. Both of them will be, consultants will be working on those same projects at $60,000 apiece per contract. And I would, Commissioner Look approves both. I would second them.
Okay, so that was for items 3 and 4. Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Meisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache,
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte,
Aye.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Silveraja.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item.
I would like you to consider authorizing the county engineer to advertise for bids for the Broadway Avenue shoulder widening and bituminous overlay from Potomac Street to Kettle River Boulevard in the city of Columbus.
I will move approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Under transit, please consider recommending approval of a subrecipient grant agreement with the Metropolitan Council for the period of January 1st, 2019 through December 31st of 2019 for the Congestion Mitigation Air Quality Funds for Anoka County's Transportation Management Organization known as Commute Solutions.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
It's been moved by Commissioner Schulte, second by Commissioner Look. Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad. Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Silveraja.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Carries. Now we'll move on to the Transportation Committee Chair Report number 2.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This item, we recommend award of contract to North Pine Aggregate in the amount of $845,164.90 for the signalization project for the intersection of Lexington Avenue Northeast and Broadway Avenue Northeast in the cities of Columbus and Ham Lake.
I will move approval. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion?
Madam Chair, I would just comment that this was going to be before us previously in December, and we couldn't do it because of a delay from NDOT's EEO office. But we've got all those approvals now, and this is good to go.
Wonderful. Okay, roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Silveraja.
Aye.
Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Carries.
And Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
All right, thank you so much. Now we'll move on to Information Technology Committee Report. Commissioner Gamache.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The IT Committee met on Monday, December 17th. We have just two quick informational items. The IT Committee approved the Memorandum of Understanding with sharing an Oakland County passport scheduling software application with the City of Maple Grove. This is something that we developed, the software for the scheduling software, and now we're sharing it with another city. We did this earlier this year with White Bear Lake, I believe it was the other city that we shared with earlier.
That's correct. Madam Chair and members of the County Board, I'm Susan Vreel. I'm the Director of Information Technology. We've actually shared it with a total of 6 entities, the most recently being that previous city. We continue to share that technology and look forward to partnerships with those entities, especially counties, to get some technology in return.
Yeah, it's been exciting, and that was what number 2 is also, we were looking at another memorandum of understanding and sharing our Anoka County Veterans Automated Check-in software application with Sibley County Veteran Services, and we have done this a number of times, even sharing it with, I believe is it Orange County?
California.
Yeah.
Commissioner, that is correct.
Some of the work that's being done by our IT people is just fantastic, and we're able to share with others. We're hoping to get some things back from time to time, but we're just kind of in a sharing mood, so we like to make sure that we get it out there and help out other counties with some fine technology that we have. And then we also did a quick update as to the role and the history of the IT committee and what we've been doing over the years, because it was Commissioner Kordiak's last IT meeting. So we made sure he was updated before he headed off to Florida. So,
Madam Chair.
Oh, go ahead.
Commissioner Gamache, last week I got a call from a good friend of mine, County Administrator from Kandiyohi County. And he said, what kind of query system do you have? And I said, well, we have a homegrown system. So I think their staff and our staff are meeting. I took the opportunity to go down to Economic Assistance and pretend I was a customer. And I was really impressed with the system. They give you about 4 different options. I pushed an option. I got a ticket that said a number, and you'll be called, and over the speaker comes a call in less than 1 minute to go up to the window. So I was very impressed with it. So if you haven't seen these systems, especially the Economic Assistance, which is down on 4th floor, it's really pretty amazing what our technology staff have done along with our human services staff.
Yes, and then like I said, we've got some great systems going on, and a lot of them built right here. So we're pretty proud of that, and the IT committee has been doing a great job. That ends my report, Madam Chair.
All right. Thank you so much. Now we'll move on to Intergovernmental and Community Relations Committee Chair Report. I have one item, and that is I recommend that the County Board approve contract C0006882 with Itasca County for medical examiner services. The annual revenue estimate for that contract will be $25,000. So I will move approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Silveraja. Commissioner Meisner.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Motion carries. That concludes my report. Now we'll move on to Internal Audit Committee report. Commissioner Look.
Madam Chair, thank you. The Internal Audit Committee met on December 20th, and just wanted to update commissioners on what we discussed there. We met with the state auditor, and they presented their annual audit entrance meeting, which basically defines kind of the statements on auditing standards and some of the client responsibilities that we have, as well as identifying some of the areas in which they will be focusing this year on audits. Some of those areas will be medical assistance program, temporary assistance for needy families program, and the supplemental nutrition assistance program. And also the highway department has a secondary follow-up to the last audit that they did. Their audit should conclude in May timeframe. We should have results back in June. It's always good to meet with our state auditor because it's good to maintain positive relationships with them. And then also the Internal Audit Committee reported on a couple of internal audits they did. One with Human Services, performed an audit on case review process for economic assistance and the management that's in place, and they checked up to 100 different cases to make sure that they were accurate. And also they addressed a little bit on risk assessment, meeting with the different divisional managers and directors to discuss where some of the inherent risks might be in their respective departments. And then also presented kind of a rundown of the different audits that would be looked at and performed internally over the next year here. Again, a process that I think is valuable. I think some of our departments get a little stressed with that, but it's better we find it. If there's anything to be found, then the state auditors to find it, and of course we can make sure that everything is in line on our end. So again, a very successful audit meeting, and I'm going to thank Chuck for his hard work on this, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Commissioner Look. Now we will move into the public hearing, and I will turn it over to our county attorney, Tony Palumbo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this point, I will then commence the public hearing. The purpose of this public hearing is to obtain comments on amending or repealing Anoka County ordinances relating to the Transportation Division. At this time, I should note for the record that notice of this public hearing has been published in the official county newspaper on December 21st, December 28th of 2018. I would ask the clerk to make note of that for the record. And at this time, I see Transportation Division Manager, Mr. Doug Fisher, who was prepared to address the board about this particular matter. Mr. Fisher, if you could, please.
Thank you, County Attorney Palumbo, County Board Chair, members of the County Board. Again, I'm Doug Fisher, Transportation Division Manager and County Engineer. The first item that we have here is Ordinance 2019-1. This is an ordinance that we would like to implement to repeal County Ordinance 82-4, which is an aggregate removal tax. Back in 1982, the Anoka County Board did approve Ordinance 82-4, which is an aggregate removal tax ordinance. This action imposed a production tax on the removal of aggregate from pits, quarries, and deposits located within the county. Aggregate is defined in this ordinance as any non-metallic natural mineral aggregate, including but not limited to sand, silica sand, gravel, building stone, crushed rock, limestone, and granite, but not dimension stone or granite. This ordinance also established the reporting requirements, provided penalties for failure to comply with the provisions of the ordinance, and provided for the distribution of the revenues that were collected under this ordinance. The tax was for 10 cents per cubic yard or 7 cents per ton of aggregate removed. The tax was to be distributed 60% to the county road and bridge fund, 30% to the local city or town where the aggregate was produced, and 10% to a special fund for the restoration of abandoned pits or quarries if necessary. Recently, the Transportation Division conducted a review of all of the ordinances that we currently have on the books for our operating departments and units. In our review of this aggregate removal tax ordinance, we found no evidence that this ordinance ever was implemented and enforced. There's There is some anecdotal evidence that it actually was repealed in the past, but we can't find that paper trail to find that. It appears that the ordinance never was implemented. It appears that no tax ever was collected. And right now there really is no or limited opportunities for any real aggregate production in Anoka County. So we do recommend that this old ordinance be repealed. So the action we are recommending to the board to take with ordinance 2019-1 is to officially repeal ordinance 82-4 and eliminate the aggregate removal tax.
Madam Chair.
Actually, it's a public hearing, so you need to address.
Go ahead, Mr. Fisher, if you want to take all three, and then we'll take questions from the board.
Okay. The second ordinance is 2019-2. This is an ordinance to repeal existing ordinance 76-3 and replace it with a new ordinance. Again, this was part of our review of our standing ordinances in Transportation Division. This ordinance in 1976, the county board approved ordinance 76-3, which authorized the county surveyor to approve all subdivision plats and registered land surveys and charging a fee for those services. Since the adoption of that ordinance, there have been several changes to the Minnesota statute 389.09 subdivision 1. The new ordinance reflects the changes that have been made to the statute by the Minnesota legislature. So in this action, we are recommending for the board to take with ordinance 2019-2 is to officially repeal ordinance 76-3 and approve ordinance 2019-2, which again authorizes the county surveyor to approve all the subdivision plats and registered land surveyors before recording and charging a fee for those services. And it does add the references to the Minnesota statutes 508 and 508A for registered land surveys, and those references are not in the current. So this is more or less a housekeeping. It repeals the old ordinance and updated with the new statutory references. And then the final ordinance that we have the public hearing and we're asked for action is ordinance 2019-3. Again, this will repeal existing ordinance 91-3 and replace it with a new ordinance. This ordinance was approved by the county board, the old ordinance 91-3 was approved in 1991. This ordinance authorized the county surveyor to approve all common interest property plats before recording and charging a fee for those services. Since the adoption of that ordinance, there also has been several changes to state statute, and the new ordinance reflects those changes that have been made by the Minnesota legislature. So again, the action we are recommending to the board with ordinance 2019-3 is to officially repeal ordinance 91-3, approve ordinance 2019-3, which authorizes the county surveyor to approve all common interest community plats before recording and charging a fee for those services. And the new ordinance does update the reference for common interest community plats to Minnesota statutes 515B, and it also updates the reference to Minnesota statute 38909, replacing subdivision with subdivision 2 with subdivision 1. So again, more or less a housekeeping item for this ordinance as well. Okay. And that concludes my comments on these three ordinances.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Questions by the board? Commissioner Schulte.
I just wanted to make the comment that, it's no wonder that our code books and ordinance books never get smaller. I mean, to repeal one completely and get rid of it, you have to introduce a new one. So there's no way they'll ever get smaller. They will continue to grow, and that's unfortunate. Not lambasting attorneys for that, but I am actually. I find it very ironic. When I first saw this come through our committee, I was flabbergasted then, and I continue to understand why we have to introduce an ordinance to repeal an ordinance, but so be it.
Madam Chair, just a comment. We have got many ordinances, many very old ordinances in the county books. Teresa Sawyer has taken on the job of working with the departments to go through them, get rid of those that are obsolete, upgrade those, and then have them so that the public can easily see them on our website. Right now, there's long lists, and you got to go through everything to get to where we're at today. It's not a very easy job, and I think we're down to one area, and we'll be all completed. And so we got to give Teresa a hand and what she's done to make that happen.
Thank you, Mr. Soma. Any other questions or comments by the board? Mr. Fisher. Okay, at this time then, I would invite members of the public to come forward and address the board on this proposed action. Is there any member of the board or any member of the public that wishes to come forward? And I will ask a third time, is there any member of the public that wishes to come forward and address the board on this matter? I see none at this point, and at this point, I then would conclude the public hearing on this matter and turn it back over to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Palumbo. Now we will move to approve 9A, which includes 2019-1, 2019-2, and 2019-3. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. And then the final item is to consider for informational purposes the county board chair's reappointment of Tim Gilsrud as chair of the Emergency Medical Services Council for 2019. And there's nothing else to come before the county board, so meeting is adjourned.